Welcome to the one brand new episode in the Rimm-Podcast, episode 48. I'm your podcast host, Tiggy, and today we got a Orange County judge, Judge Gibson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And I always like, what is this? What is the judge? What is like even being like a judge? Why do you even decide to even run for a judge?
Well, so actually, I've wanted to be a judge since I was 12.
Oh, wow.
Right, 12-year-old Elizabeth knew she wanted to be a judge. But the reason I wanted to be a judge, even at that young age, is I've always had a strong sense of justice. And when there's injustice around me, I can't rest. And honestly, we have the most unique system in the world. I think it's the best.
Yes, it is.
It's not perfect, right? There are people involved. None of us are perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But we have the only system in the world that's designed to protect and preserve individual liberties. And to be able to play even a small role in this system is the greatest honor of my life.
Nice. And you say you've been appointed in 2020, right?
Right. So I took the bench July 6th of 2020.
Nice.
So we're 5 days from my 2-year anniversary. And so now I'm up for election in August 2022.
August 2023. That's when you're gonna chasing the real stuff. So Orange County voters, first question: why they should vote for you over other well-qualified candidates?
So there is another. I have opposition. There's someone running in my race. He is an attorney.
Okay.
Of course, you have to be an attorney in Florida to be a judge.
Got it.
I was an attorney who practiced law for 16 years before I became a judge. So I've been a judge now for 2, like we just discussed. And I would say the main reason is my experience. I have a breadth of experience that I bring to the bench that helps me make decisions on a day-to-day basis. Being a judge it's a tough job.
Yes,
We're inundated and we have just hundreds of cases that appear before us daily, and we have to make tough decisions. As an attorney, I practiced almost 8 years as a prosecutor. I had thousands of criminal cases that I dealt with, everything from filing decisions, interviewing witnesses, depositions, through jury trials. I did almost 100 jury trials to verdict. Wow. Then I transitioned out of being a prosecutor into healthcare, where I worked for 2 of our largest healthcare organizations, both nonprofits, and I did that for 6 years. Then I went in-house for a mid-sized nonprofit organization, which, in addition to all the other in-house issues, I also dealt with First Amendment issues, religious liberty issues. Okay. So I have a breadth of experience that I think the citizens of Orange County, that's what we need from our judges on the bench, is experience.
And the citizens of Orange County, because we never know what guy is going to stood up in front of you, because you never know. Things happen.
Right.
For a reason or with no reason, I don't know. But as a residents of the Orange County, and when we are stroking out with the stroke of pen, getting to the polls, how much does experience matter when it comes on to the elections or the voting for the judges?
I hope it matters a great deal.
Okay.
As a voter, I am also a voter, right?
Yes.
I can tell you that's one of the things I consider when I vote. It's the most important to me.
Okay.
Because, like I told you, we have hundreds of people who appear in front of us daily. Wow. And having a judge who's never set foot in the courtroom, or having a judge who's never had experience with corporations, with thousands of employees from corporations, having a judge who doesn't have that experience would make me question that. As a voter, that's not what I'd be looking for. I want someone with experience, and I want someone with a record of service, and I have that.
Okay. So I always love to ask the questions. Do you possess any other expertise other than laws? Any hobby? I see you a lot of times. You get involved in community, which I really appreciate it.
I do.
I believe a lot of judges should do that as well, because the only way the community will, know you, you got to get out there.
Right.
And I've been following you, been fantastic. I've been fascinated with stuff, how much you're involved with in Orange County. Not just in Orange County, but actually you're going sometimes a little bit on the border between Orange and San Osceola.
I do.
Just to reach out, because we have a lot of families might live in Orange County. By the time they're voting, they're moving from Osceola to the Orange. So, what other expertise or hobbies that you have besides the law?
Well, you hit one of my main ones is I enjoy being involved in my community.
Okay.
I feel like a record of service is important. I'm the daughter of a U.S. military veteran. I'm the daughter of an Orange County public school teacher, and so from a young age, my parents instilled in us service. Our greatest calling is to serve others.
Okay.
So I'm very involved in the Florida Bar, local voluntary bar associations, service organizations. I really feel like as a judge, and even before I was a judge, as an attorney, it is my duty to give back. And so I want to be as involved as I can. So that's one of my main hobbies, is being involved in my community.
Nice.
I also, and in terms of expertise, so when I worked for when I worked for the healthcare organizations, I became certified in change management. Prosci, I don't know if you're familiar with Prosci Change Management. It's the internationally recognized organization for that.
Okay.
And I absolutely loved that training and getting to utilize that in a large organization, because I feel like, if anybody knows anything about change management, the number one thing is awareness.
Yes.
If you approach a problem and you don't think it's a problem, you're not aware that it's a problem, we can't fix it. And so I have that certification. I love that. I'm also certified in healthcare compliance because I did that for several years, and I really enjoyed it. So yes, I have lots of hobbies, lots of things I enjoy, and lots of other outside
So you have
expertise.
a lot on an outside experience and certification that actually make you a better judge than you are, honorable judge today.
I think so.
Okay, so what are the major issues when we come to Orange County? When sitting from the bench and seeing how can judicial system can be fixed better, and if there's a particular area that you believe serving next full term and maybe influencing other judges just to getting incorporate more within each other and dealing, I believe the best way to resolve an issue, especially in the judicial system, is actually have a bunch of other judges in getting involved together on monthly, weekly, doesn't matter what basis. But what particular issue we are facing today at Orange County, and what would you do in your first term for elected term?
So that is a fantastic question. So the 2 years that I've been serving on the Orange County bench, something that I've noticed is we have an adversarial system, right? Okay. So if you're in criminal law, it's the state of Florida versus the defense. They're adversaries. If you're in civil law, it's the plaintiff and the defense, and they're adversaries. But one thing that I learned working in the healthcare organizations where I worked, also this is part of the change management, if we all work together in collaboration, it's easier to move forward and resolve issues. Now, in an adversarial system, we will not always have the same goal,
of course,
right?
Of course.
But I think that when we work together, we can affect change. And one of the biggest issues we have right now in Orange County and across the state of Florida is a backlog of cases because of the pandemic. Courts were shut down because of the pandemic. The Supreme Court of Florida issued an administrative order that we were not allowed to have people in the building. And that was obviously for safety, but it caused a backlog. And so one of the things I've been doing is when I came to my docket in January, I just moved to a new docket in January of this year, so I've been there now almost 6 months, I started meeting with attorneys and asking, what works for you? What doesn't work for you? What if I do this? And so we work together to create a docket flow that I'm hoping will help manage the older cases so that we can get rid of the older cases as fast as possible. And in anticipation of going to a civil docket, I'm doing the same thing. So I'm going around to plaintiff and defense firms and saying, hey, when you come to court, what helps you resolve cases? How can the judges be more accessible to you? So I'm working on sort of creating a collaborative feel so that we can help resolve cases as quickly as possible.
Okay, so it's saying, just getting in addition today, as elected new first term, full term, 6 years, what is your vision of the future for our judicial system in Orange County? What changes would you advocate and why?
That's it.
That's
what we
it?
just talked about. I'm
There
sorry.
we go.
That would be my answer to that question, because I really feel like one of the benefits I got from working for these very dynamic healthcare organizations, very large, thousands of employees here. Dynamic leaders who work in collaboration can move an organization forward. And I really think that's what we need in the justice system. And I can tell you, we have amazing judges and attorneys here in the Ninth Circuit and also up in Seminole County. Amazing people who want to move forward. So I feel like we can definitely affect that change. And the pandemic, it highlighted the need for it because it created that backlog. But we already have people working hard to move us forward and resolve cases as quickly as we can.
And I also believe what the pandemic really did, I know there was like a lot of people die, unfortunately, but also
Right.
connects a lot of judges virtually.
Absolutely.
That the judicial system was not able ever, they never even probably thought about doing it.
Correct.
So now you are fixing the working with an attorneys and different judges.
Right.
Now, do you believe the newly or elected judges have an obligation to support and teach our public sector? Because I believe a lot of public sector are poorly educated what the judicial system is about. Besides going to school, we always saying, you know what, we need to learn that in school. But school, somebody finished 40, 50 years high school, but like
Right.
we forget about it. So is there a particular vision that you said you will do moving forward and on the public sector? How would you educate public sector more?
I do think that's really important for judges. Since I took the bench in 2020, well, of course, to start with, nothing was happening because everything was shut down.
Yes.
But once the world opened back up, I've made it an emphasis for me to visit schools wherever I can. I've had the opportunity to visit several schools, and I will go to elementary, middle, high school, college, law school, homeschool. I've been invited by homeschool groups because, as you know, the pandemic also highlighted pretty much everybody sort of became homeschoolers.
Yep.
So I've been to homeschool groups as well to talk about the justice system, the three branches of government, why we have the separation of powers, what is the role of the courts. I invite them to my courtroom. I've had lots of visitors come to my courtroom because I think you're right. Even if you learned this in high school, if it's been 20 years, you might not remember, and you might not have actually seen it in action. So I open up, of course, courtrooms in Florida are open, but I invite people to my courtroom regularly.
Okay.
Come watch, see what you think, ask me questions, not during the hearing, ask me questions after the hearing. And in that way, I hope to engage more of my community because I do think we have that responsibility as judges to educate about the justice system.
And I got a question. Why the courts and judges are really important and part of our system? What would happen if we don't have a good system?
Well,
from your own perspective.
I think you're seeing that all over the world, but it's interesting that ties back to one of your questions earlier. Fast forward from 12-year-old Elizabeth to the role I had just before I became a judge in 2020. My client was an organization, and I was watching my client be caught in the crosshairs of some administrative agencies in various states. It wasn't in Florida. But what was happening is the administrative agencies were effectively writing laws and then interpreting the laws. So you had one branch of government that was actually doing the role of the three branches of government, which was prejudicing my client. My client was being robbed of all the protections afforded in the legislative process and the judicial process. And so I think that's one of the things that spurred me to apply for the process when I did, because I think if we don't have the separation of powers and we don't have judges who are reading the law and following the law, the system breaks down.
The reason why is because they don't have a time to read, because we push so many cases on the judges. That could be too, because of efficiency.
It could be because we are
Very
many
busy.
judges are very overloaded.
Yeah.
It's a significant workload, but we also have a lot of judges who are working really hard to make sure that we don't sacrifice the role, which is to follow the law, just for efficiency.
Okay, so you said at age 12 you already know in the future you're going to be a judge. So is there a particular judicial role models that you follow, and why? They said, you know what, this particular judge, I love it. She's a great, what she does for society, for community. One day when I grow up and I finish all of my education, I want to be just like her. Maybe not like her, but maybe close to her, what she does in the community.
That's a great question. I want to say Sandra Day O'Connor.
Okay, why is
I've
that?
always felt like she didn't get enough of her due because she was the first woman appointed to the United States Supreme Court.
Okay.
She was appointed in 1981, and most of your listeners are probably very familiar with Ruth Bader Ginsburg,
Yes.
RBG. She sort of has a cult following, but she wasn't the first. Sandra Day O'Connor was the first. And if you look at her career, she broke through the glass ceiling over and over. In fact, after she graduated from law school, she first had to work as a secretary because no law firm would hire her.
Oh, wow.
Because she was a woman and an attorney. And so she fought her entire career for equality for women. She set the tone for women judges. If you look at her opinions and her time on the court, she was known as a consensus builder. She worked to build collaboration
Nice.
with the other justices on the Supreme Court. And so I've always respected her and admired her. And
Okay, so now your elections are upcoming, less than 60 plus days?
it's less than 60 now. We're in
Less
the
than 60
50s,
times.
right?
So if there isn't an issue or is a particular thing that you can say, look it up in camera and say, Orange County voters, I am Honorable Judge Gibson. Why should you vote for me? And what would you do for them moving forward when you get reelected? I mean, actually elected for the full
Right, I'm
term.
not reelected because I was appointed, but
Yeah,
right,
appointed.
when I get elected
Yeah,
in
I'm
August.
pointing you're gonna get elected for full term. What you gonna do for them in Orange County? So it's your time now. You're on a hot spot. Look it up in camera, and say why they should vote for you in Orange County.
All right, well, thank you for that opportunity.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. As you've heard, my name is Elizabeth Gibson. I am an Orange County judge, and I am running to keep my seat. Vote on or before August 23rd for Elizabeth Gibson. If I am elected, my commitment to my community is that I will be a better judge every day than I was the day before. I will work hard to ensure that every citizen of Orange County has access to justice in a meaningful way. And when you leave my courtroom, you will know that you are treated with dignity and respect. Vote for Elizabeth Gibson.
On the August 23rd, right?
On or before.
Oh, no,
Early
no.
voting starts August
Early
8th.
voting start. Okay, perfect. So this is the judge, Keep Judge Elizabeth Gibson, Orange County Judge Group 17. You can
That's
You
me.
can say that too. So I bring judges to educate you, and you guys have decisions to go there to the polls.
That's
with
right.
the stroke of the pen and elect Keep Judge Elizabeth Gibson moving forward. So this is your special guest, Honorable Judge Gibson, with the Rimm-Podcast host Iggy. Please love, share. We'll put all of your information over there. And Judge, thank you so much for coming to our show, sharing your beautiful experience, beautiful your passion at the age 12. You already know in advance what you want to be.
I did.
That's the fascinating.
I did. Thank you so much.
And we'll support you. We love what you do for our community. Keep reaching out to community and letting who you are. And we'll do best from our media perspective. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a special host Iggy and our special guest, Judge Gibson. Thank you. Please like, share, and care within the community. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.